Lily Martinez's hands trembled as she approached Jason Chen's lunch table, finally ready to ask him to prom. His rejection was swift and public, his friends' laughter echoing as she fled to hide. By sixth period, she sat numb at her desk, convinced asking him was the biggest mistake of her life. Then the classroom loudspeaker crackled to life with a weak voice from the hospital. What Daniel Wright said next made the entire room fall silent. Lily Martinez had barely slept the night before. For weeks, she'd been building up the courage to do something that terrified her. It wasn't just about asking someone to prom, it was about finally stepping out of the shadows. Lily had always been invisible at school. She was the girl in the back row, the one who ate lunch alone, the one teachers sometimes forgot to call on. Day after day, she watched life happen around her, while she stayed on the sidelines. But asking Jason Chen to prom felt different. It felt like a chance to prove something to herself, a chance to finally be seen. During lunch period, Lily's heart pounded as she walked toward Jason's table. Her hands were shaking, her voice trembled as she asked him to prom. She watched his face carefully, hoping for a yes. Jason glanced at his friends. Then he looked back at her with an uncomfortable smile. He told her he was flattered, but he had to say no. His friends started laughing. Lily felt her face burning as she turned and walked away. She found a bathroom stall and locked herself inside, convinced she'd just made the biggest mistake of her life. The rest of the day dragged on. By sixth period, Lily couldn't focus on anything. She sat at her desk, replaying the rejection over and over in her mind. Every whisper around her felt like someone was talking about what happened. Every glance felt like mockery. She wondered if she should have just stayed invisible. At least then, she wouldn't be hurting like this. Then something unexpected happened. The loudspeaker crackled to life. But instead of the usual announcements, there was a weak male voice. The voice introduced itself as Daniel Wright. Most students recognized the name immediately. He'd been absent since September. 6 months ago, he'd simply disappeared from school. Daniel explained he was calling from the hospital. He'd been receiving treatment for leukemia. His voice was thin but steady as he told everyone he'd been following the school's social media posts from his hospital bed. He was desperate to feel connected to the normal teenage world he'd been forced to leave behind. The classroom had gone completely silent. Everyone was listening. But what came next shocked them all. Daniel mentioned a specific memory from 2 years ago, before he got sick. He'd been struggling badly in math class. He was on the verge of failing. Then a quiet girl had stayed after school to tutor him. Every Tuesday for an entire semester, she'd helped him. She never asked for anything in return. She never told anyone about it. That girl was Lily Martinez. Lily felt her heart stop. She'd almost forgotten about those tutoring sessions. They'd seemed so small at the time, so insignificant. Daniel's voice cracked slightly as he continued. He said that kindness had stuck with him through everything, through every painful treatment, through every lonely night in the hospital. When he saw the post today about what happened at lunch, about Lily being rejected, he couldn't stay silent anymore. Then Daniel asked Lily to go to prom with him, but not because he pitied her, because she deserved to know that her kindness mattered, because someone had been seeing her all along, even when she felt invisible. The classroom erupted. Students were crying, talking over each other. Lily sat frozen at her desk, tears streaming down her face. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Those Tuesday afternoons helping Daniel had seemed like nothing special. She'd never imagined they meant anything to anyone. But there was a problem, a big one. Daniel was too weak to leave the hospital. The doctors wouldn't allow it. How could he take her to prom if he couldn't even leave his room? During the final period of the day, something remarkable began to happen. Students started leaving their classrooms. They gathered in the hallway talking, planning. Word spread quickly through the school. If Daniel couldn't come to prom, they would bring prom to him. Within an hour, a plan had formed. The school's evening prom would go on as scheduled for everyone else. But a smaller group would go to the hospital that same evening. They would create something special for Daniel and Lily. That evening, Lily stood in the hospital lobby. She wore a simple dress. Her mother stood beside her for support. Lily's hands were trembling. She was terrified. What if Daniel had changed his mind? What if this was all too much? What if she somehow disappointed him after everything he'd said? A group of classmates arrived carrying supplies. Someone had brought a small speaker. Others had balloons and string lights borrowed from the school. The hospital staff had heard the story. They were moved by it. They agreed to let the students use a small common room on Daniel's floor. Lily walked down the hospital corridor. Her legs felt weak. She could hear music starting to play from the room ahead. When she stepped inside, she saw him. Daniel was sitting in a chair by the window. He looked thin, pale, but his eyes lit up the moment he saw her. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The room was decorated simply, but it felt magical. Then Daniel smiled. He told her he'd been waiting 2 years to thank her properly. They didn't dance much. Daniel was too weak for that, but they sat together by the window. They talked about everything and nothing, about school, about memories, about small moments that had meant more than either of them realized at the time. Their classmates moved around them, creating a bubble of normalcy in the middle of a hospital. Lily held Daniel's hand. As she sat there, something shifted inside her. She'd spent so long wanting to be seen by people who didn't matter, people like Jason and his friends. She'd missed being seen by someone who actually did matter, someone who remembered a kindness from 2 years ago, someone who'd carried that memory through his darkest days. The students had transformed the common room into something beautiful. It wasn't elaborate, but it was filled with warmth, with genuine care. Several classmates came over throughout the evening to talk with Daniel. Some apologized for not visiting sooner. Others promised to stay in touch. The evening became more than just a prom. It became a reminder of what really mattered. As hospital visiting hours came to an end, everyone began preparing to leave. Daniel squeezed Lily's hand one more time. He told her he didn't know what the future held for him. The treatments were ongoing. The prognosis was uncertain. But he knew one thing for sure. He'd spent one perfect evening with someone who'd shown him that even small acts of kindness echo longer than we ever realize. Lily left the hospital that night completely transformed. The rejection that had crushed her that morning now seemed meaningless, insignificant. She'd discovered something far more valuable than being popular or getting noticed by the right people. She'd learned that her quiet kindness had been a lifeline for someone when they needed it most, that she'd been visible all along to the person whose opinion truly mattered. And have you ever discovered that a small act of kindness meant more to someone than you ever imagined?